Congratulations on the progress so far. You're doing amazing. So we're now in the auto layout section, and if you're watching this video, maybe you're having some problems with the auto layout lessons and assignments, or maybe you just want to see how I would approach solving these assignments. So whatever the case, let's get right into it. Our first assignment is to select the elements in our workspace. I'll do it like this, so I'll just drag around this area of the screen and all of them are selected, and then I have to use Shift A as a shortcut for creating the auto layout. Or I could have also, I'll undo this, I could have also clicked the little plus in here. That happens as long as you have multiple items selected. If you don't, that's why it's not appearing. So you can see if I select just one item, there's nothing that this can take so that it can turn it into an auto layout. Or the final approach is like selecting all of these, selecting all of these, and then right clicking in here and add auto layout. Oh, I do still need to solve it, so Shift A is the easiest option for me, and that's what I use most of the time. Let's see what the next thing is. Oh, removing auto layout. Yeah, that also happens a lot in the beginning as you're like planning around the features on your screen. You notice that something isn't working the way you like it to do. You still want to rework it, and you don't want to be bothered with the fact that when something is in auto layout, you can't really like easily position it where you'd want to. So to be able to do that, you can basically hold Option Shift A on Mac to remove the auto layout. And you can see that I removed it because then again, now I have the ability to create an auto layout from here. And also you can see that this auto layout now turned into a frame. So it's a frame that consists of all of these items. You can also, you can see auto layout icon, holding the option, turns it into a frame. You can also use this option in here in the sidebar to remove it. So hitting the little minus icon turned it into a frame again. And then finally, one of the ways that I most often do it, just because of the time when I do most of these changes, it makes the most sense, and that's ungrouping everything. So basically Command Shift G on Mac, and I'm not sure what the shortcut is on Windows, but it's Control Shift G. Yeah, I'm not like showing you the Windows as well, just because it's either written in here or it's in one of the previous assignments where we went through the shortcut. So I know the shortcuts on Mac pretty well because I use them daily for at least 8 hours a day. So some of these things that I do very often are just like shortcuts that I didn't even have to think about, which is the goal of this course as well, because I put a lot of these early assignments on to be focused on the shortcuts, to just like teach you those things because you really use them a lot. But in here, I really wanted to show you the difference that happens if you do that. It basically doesn't turn it into a frame. It separates each layer that was inside it auto layout into its own layer. So sometimes that's a little bit more helpful than just like removing the auto layout feature. In here, we need to ensure that the items in these auto layouts are positioned the way that they're supposed to. So it's going to be really quick and easy. You just go in here and you change the orientation to reflect how you want this auto layout to work. And yeah, you're then gonna know and understand how things work in an auto layout. So basically, as you can see, the frame of the auto layout has fixed dimensions, and it has an item inside that's gonna reposition based on the settings that you put in here. So if you have multiple of them, you can see that they're kind of sticking to the bottom right corner because that's the setting that you created. The spacing between these two items or more is gonna depend on this setting in here, the horizontal space between items. And also, as you can see, since the main frame is fixed, that means that the little dots that I duplicated kind of go outside of the auto layout. So that's also possible. The auto layout doesn't necessarily always have to kind of change width and height. It can stay fixed, but the items inside are going to follow some rules. Okay, so now we're going to switch to something that looks more like a UI element. And in here you can see it's a card. Let's read through the task. Let's add another button in the bottom row of the first card. So in here, I'm just going to add another button by, as you can see, I'm kind of double clicking to enter into the space where I want to do something. I can also hold Command and go to the bottommost layer or the one that I kind of hover over and select. So you can see in here, I'm basically going to go dive into the text, while in here I'm holding Shift and I can select just this button, and then I'm going to hit Command D to duplicate it, or Control D, I'm guessing, on Windows. If not, always double check the plugins PDF that we have with this course. And you can see in here that I've created another button now. Okay. Drag the line element into the card auto layout. Okay, so I'm gonna have to drag this in here, and you can see how it is basically positioned the way that I want it to be. Another way is to copy an element, click on the auto layout frame where you want to edit, and just hit Command V or Control V on Windows, and then reorder it where you want to reorder it. After that, duplicate one of the cards within the auto layout to have 3 cards. Okay. And finally, reorder the card covers, represented by a large gray rectangle in here, to replicate the look. Oh, they need to go up. Okay, so you can select multiple layers like this. I'm holding Command Shift and I'm selecting both of them, and I'm just going to hit up on my keyboard, and both of them are going to go up. Again, a little quick tip on how to work more efficiently. Okay, what do we have to do in here? In here, we have to remove one polygon. Okay, I'm gonna do that. And then I'm gonna duplicate this one in here. I need to change the orientation. I'm gonna select the auto layout and switch it. And I need to use the padding and spacing settings to match it to the auto layout in here. So what I can see in here is that all of these are smaller. So, but it's not like the left and right and are replicated. So I'm gonna expand this. I'm gonna make right something bigger, and I'm gonna make all of these smaller. That honestly might be it. I think it's been like a week and a half or like 2 weeks since I created the assignments that I'm now recording and solving, so I'm kind of surprising myself when I guess things, so that's why the reaction is the way it is. Sorry. And in here, I think it's gonna be something really small. No, not like that, but maybe in here. No. Okay, more or less good. Oh, I can also see that the spacing in here is smaller, so I'm also gonna do that. Use padding and spacing settings to match. Okay, perfect. In here, what do we have to do? We have to make the frame resize the same way. So let's see how it works now. Okay, so one thing I can notice is that this part of the auto layout is not resizing, so we need to change that. I can also see that the orientation of buttons is wrong, so let's go back. I think buttons should be like this. I think this needs to have fill container set on it. So I'm using Command to kind of select the layer where I noticed the mistake. Oh, I can also see that this one is stretching, so I'm gonna make this one fill container. But that's not the problem. Let's inspect it further. So we can see that this is an auto layout, and it's gonna fill the container of the card. So it's basically going to be the paddings of 16 on the left and right side are going to stay consistent, and the width is going to change. But I can see in here that there's another auto layout which is set to fixed. I'm going to switch it to fill container, and that solves our problem. Let's see now if we resize it. Yay, perfect. Okay, so we solved it. Let's see, what do we need to do in here? So we need to use the elements in our workspace to create a card. And again, cards are great places to kind of learn a little bit more advanced auto layout than just like creating buttons, since it has more elements than just a single button, which most has like an icon or two and text. So let's try to solve this. It basically needs to become a card whose title grows for as long as there's text. And I can also see some truncation in here. So basically the text below it is only gonna be up to 3 lines of text high. Padding, spacings, nest one child element into auto layout and another parent auto layout and more. Don't forget truncation. It's crucial for the card to resize from center. Oh, that's the example. That's why it's centered. Okay. So that you achieve that as well with constraints and positioning settings. If you're feeling stuck, okay. Everything sounds good. And I think that first I'm going to create this auto layout. I'm going to make it a fixed width. I'm going to resize the width of the text so that it fits in here. I'm going to make both of them just fill container. I can already see that the text in here is too big, so I'm going to turn on truncation. And since the truncation is turned on, it now switched to fixed. And I just need to calculate how high the 3 lines of text would be. So I'm going to take the line height in here and multiply it by 3. And it works. Awesome. Now let's make an auto layout out of these 2 items, add some padding, maybe even bigger. I often make this part on the bottom a little bit bigger, but I'm not sure if I did that in here. Let's add some effects. Oh, there's no shadow appearing because I don't have a fill on this. So now this element has a fill and it's working. Awesome. Let's ensure that it grows correctly even if the width is a little bit different. So in here I'm gonna have this fill container and I'm gonna have this fill container. I'm gonna have elements inside fill container. This one is gonna fill container as well. So if I resize it like this, it still works. But one thing that's not working is the fact that it's not resizing right. So I'm gonna do it like this. And what else? I still need to make this kind of grow the right way, and I think it does. So I would consider this done. Ooh, let's see, what do we need to learn in here? We need to learn how to nest elements correctly. So by inspecting this, what can we notice? We can definitely notice that these two are connected and aligned to the right because they're not matching the lines in here. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna start with that or with something else. I can already see that this is also connected to that. So maybe all 3 of these have auto layout set, and maybe they're just centered. No, that's not gonna work. I think it's gonna be like this. These 2 are gonna be set to right, and then these 2 are gonna be set like that. Okay. We can definitely then combine it with this one and center it. We can then, well, can we combine all 3 of these and maybe just align them to the right? No, that's not gonna work. There's still something. I feel like these two need to work together and be placed on the right. And then if we combine these, all of these, they might work if centered. So alignment in here, that's perfect. This one is a little bit pushed in here, here. Yep, okay. Sorry, had to analyze it, but I think that's it. So basically it's just a little bit of nesting these two elements, and then this one is the final one. Honestly, maybe I could have aligned this one with this as well, but no, that wouldn't work because of the middle layer. Okay, what do we have to do? Use absolute positioning. So I'm gonna hit the item that I wanna position absolutely. I'm gonna do it like this. I'm just gonna place it on the top like that, and this might be it. Cool, so that was quick, really quick. I'll just repeat it in case that someone can follow us quickly. Basically add absolute positioning to the layer, reposition it, and just kind of, I use shift and arrows on my keyboard to reposition it like that. In here, we need to change the spacing mode. So I'm gonna move in here, space between, that should be it. In here, we need to use canvas stacking to last on top. And we also need to change the stroke to be included. And then finally, we can demo it by hitting enter to basically go and have all of the layers inside the auto layout selected, and just kind of resize it, and then see that also the auto layout height has changed from doing that. I know it's not the same stroke size, I'm not blind. Maybe like 8. Cool. In here, we need to add an auto layout to these elements. They probably have some padding like this. Let's center it. And I'm also guessing that we need to align it based on baseline. Awesome. Finally, there's only one setting you need to change to achieve the positioning of elements with this auto layout. Let's see what it could be. So what I can see in here is that if I hit in, go to the settings in here, I could kind of like try to guess it from this, but I'm also guessing that if I stretch this, that this is gonna be stuck to the right side. I can switch it to the right side, but that's not gonna work as well. So what I feel I need to do is I need to go inside and change the spacing mode, and that solves it. Okay, yeah, I think we went through all of the basic assignments for the auto layout section. Now, one thing I'm gonna do for this module is I'm gonna split the videos. I feel like this one is already a little bit long, so if you're looking for a solution to something on mastering auto layout, watch the next video.